Hello again. This is Sheryl Noethe, Montana's Poet Laureate, and I'm here to teach you a lesson about a very unusual name for a form of writing poetry. It's called Eckphrastic poetry. And in Eckphrastic poetry, you are writing to art. And so you find a painting or a drawing, and you create its story. You can put yourself inside the picture and talk about it, or you can also just invent the what and why and where of the painting. So I'm going to talk to you about this marvelous painting behind me. It's called Mother-in-Law's Tongue, and it's by a dear friend named Sheila Miles. Now, to do an ekphrastic poem to this painting, I'm going to look at the texture. I'm going to look at the purposeful falling lines of paint. And at the very center is a house. And coming out of it is a great tongue. And you can look at this and see poppies. In a huge field of poppies was the hidden house made out of candy with a tongue slide you could ride and splash into the little stream, the little brown and red stream passing through. This is happening in, let's say Czechoslovakia, or your backyard, or the dream I had last night. I'm going to put myself into this and I'm going to tell you about it. Obviously, because the green and yellow are so bright, it must be springtime. And I've decided that these are poppies and anemones, some of my favorite flowers. And then the brown is the sturdy branches of trees. The paint running down like this, which if you were painting a wall, you might think was a mistake. But in art, there are no mistakes. Whatever you make, you can decide why this should have happened. So the paint running down should have happened because it causes movement in the poem. And it gives me the feeling of falling or sliding. But the pink colors really make me want to eat them. And so I'm going to change my ekphrastic poem to a story about when I went walking in the woods of chocolate with strawberries dipped in chocolate, still warm. So I was in Worthington, Minnesota, and I went to this magic park I'd heard about where you could eat chocolate and it dripped down into your mouth. And there's a little house where you can go and wash your face and hands off. And the brown is melted chocolate that runs like a river throughout the painting. And then the red and pink are chocolate-covered strawberries and chocolate-covered cherries. The feeling that I get from my magic chocolate forest is one of lightness because of the light colors, and is also one makes me feel very rich and full, even though I'm still hungry. And then the closer I look, the more details I see that I can add. Now, if you go to an art gallery or a museum, you never touch the paintings. You don't even use your pencil to touch them because anything that touches them eventually affects the longevity of the paint. So you can get up close and look, but you don't want to touch. The place you're touching it with is your imagination, which is vast, a vast wonderland of images and colors and smells and sounds. Now, what do I hear? I think that because of the drips, I hear harp music. They have become strings of a great golden harp, the kind angels play. And so the sound for me here is a harp, And the smell is melted chocolate and flowers. The taste is strawberries and more chocolate. And right in the middle, I know why this house has this huge tongue. You probably already figured it out. It's to eat the chocolate. It's to eat the strawberries. Even the flowers are dipped in chocolate. And the house is enjoying it. I look at the windows of the house and they're like eyes. And I think, is this house watching me and concerned I'm going to eat all of its chocolates and all of its blossoms? That's up to me, because in ekphrastic poetry, you decide, you create the story. Now sometimes you'll see abstract art that doesn't have a very easy story. This painting is quite easy to make a story or a poem about, but sometimes you find work that is contemporary and impressionistic and it doesn't tell a story. It just uses color and form. And so if you're writing ekphrastic poetry about an impressionist painting, a painting that doesn't give you a story, it's a little more difficult. But once again, use the senses, use detail, examine the painting, and see at what point you get an idea. I've noticed now that there's a yellow margin and red and green all along the painting, so that it appears that everything is just rolling and falling and running. It's very carefully controlled and bordered. So I'm going to change my ekphrastic poem. This is a poem about a certain kind of cage, and it's very carefully enclosed so that people can't get in or out. And so with ekphrastic poetry, you are the boss of the painting. You don't have to know what the story is. You don't have to have any information at all. You immerse your imagination into the story and you create it, and you're the authority because you're the boss of the poem, the boss of the ekphrastic poem. See you next time.